Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar dedicated to the importance of TikTok. This is our fourth webinar in our social media series. And for those new attendees today, you can find episodes 1, 2, 3 on our Enterprise Ireland UK YouTube channel. So this webinar has been highly anticipated and we're very much looking forward to sharing our insights with yourselves. So before we begin, we have two housekeeping points. Number one, this webinar is being recorded and it will be shared with each of you after the webinar finishes this afternoon, and it'll also be uploaded as well to the YouTube channel. And number two, I might just bring your attention to the Q&A section at the bottom of your taskbar. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, feel free to populate them there and we will do our best to answer them in the Q&A portion of this webinar. So to briefly introduce myself, for those of you who have yet to meet me, my own name is Rachel Sleeth and I am the Market Advisor for UK Consumer Retail with a specific focus on health, wellness and beauty. I've been working on this series for the last number of weeks and months with my colleagues Anna Butler, Market Executive for Consumer Retail, and Evan Lynch, Market Advisor for Global Marketplaces. So I'm sure you've been in touch with one, if not all of us in the last couple of weeks. I am joined today for this webinar with Kathy Doyle of TikTok and Anya Kennedy of The Smooth Company. So Kathy, I might come to you first if you want to give a brief introduction to yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. And thanks for having me today, guys. As Rachel said, my name's Kathy. I'm a brand partnership manager at TikTok, working on our e-com team with brands typically in the beauty space on their paid strategies on the TikTok platform. So yeah, very excited and thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Anya, I'll pass to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Anya Kennedy. I'm the founder and CEO of The Smooth Company. The Smooth Company, we are an Irish beauty brand based here in Dublin. And I definitely wouldn't be here without TikTok and the power of TikTok. I say I'm an unofficial brand ambassador because I tell everyone who owns a business needs to be on it because it's honestly transformed our brand and it's the reason we are here where we are today. So I'm excited to share our journey on TikTok with you guys. And if anyone has any questions at the end, I'm more than happy to answer.
Thanks very much, Anya. And again, thanks to both of you for joining today. I can't wait to hear the insights that you can both share. A quick agenda for today's call. I might just run through. When I finish this introduction here, I will pass to Kathy, who will talk all things TikTok, how brands can best engage with the platform and give for optimal results. And then after that, Anya will join me for a bit of a chat discussing The Smooth Company and how she chose to leverage TikTok to grow her brand globally. After this, we will have a bit of a Q&A. As I said, keep those questions coming in at the taskbar at the bottom. And after that, I will let you know what next week's webinar is going to be before a quick close. So without further ado, I might give to you, Kathy, to try and talk to us all about TikTok.
Yes, no problem. Let me share my screen and let me know if you cannot see. Can we see presenter mode or the full screen? Yeah.
That's right.
Amazing. So yes, as I said, today I'm going to be talking about all things TikTok. I'm sure for those of you in the meeting room, there's probably different levels of understanding or familiarity with the platform. So I've kept it quite high level for today, but really wanted to talk about unlocking impactful entertainment on the platform before we hear from Anya, who, as she said, is a brand that's grown substantially on the platform. So again, I'm Kathy. We've done our intros, so I won't bore you with any more information about myself. But yeah, any questions at the end, do feel free to let us know. To get me to know me a little bit better, I always like to include what's on my For You page. Feels quite personal. It's a bit of a window into your soul, considering the algorithm is so specific and relevant to every person on the platform. But you'll see from me, I am quite basic. I recently returned from a trip in Cape Town, so of course I was using TikTok to search for content around what to do over there. I love to watch people's what I eat in a day. So recently been watching a lot of content from the Nutritionist on the platform to get some recipe ideas. And again, sticking basic, I am very interested in fashion and beauty, so always looking at what's going to be trending next on the platform. So yeah, I am really a brand's dream. When it comes to this slide, I'm not going to ask if anyone in the crowd knows what this number relates to, because You probably won't get it, as neither would I have, but 86,400, this number here relates to the number of seconds that there are in a day. And we all lead very busy lives, and we definitely aim to make the most of the time that we do have available to us and not waste a single one of those seconds. As we all know, our phones allow us to access tools around education, inspiration, information at the touch of our fingertips to make the most of this time that we do have available. And at TikTok, we really know that the entertainment industry is changing. And there's a shift happening in our industry at the moment in the way in which we consume entertainment on our phones or on our mobile devices. We spend crazy up to 50% of our waking hours consuming digital content online, be that social media or streaming, gaming, etc. So as a brand and a marketer, it's important not to waste this opportunity. But also, I think I'll be touching on throughout the session today how we watch entertainment and what we consider as entertainment has fundamentally changed. And in our digital age, entertainment is no longer simply content that makes you laugh or cry. It's not just going to the cinema or watching TV on the sofa at the end of the evening. Entertainment is really woven through our daily lives these days, and this is totally varied based on the different needs of people around us. And so, entertainment really is no longer about just consuming content, it's about participating in it, it's about sharing it and really shaping it. So, this is where we've come to TikTok. TikTok enters the chat because we see that content on TikTok is really watched at scale. And these numbers still never kind of phase to amaze me, but over 1 billion global monthly active users, which we hit quite some time ago now. And our audience is watching a movie's length of content on the platform every single day. In the UK now, the average age of a TikTok user is also 30 years old. So you can see that our audience is also starting to mature. I know there's always been preconceptions that it is fundamentally a Gen Z based platform or a dancing app, but that's actually changed and evolved over time. And yeah, we have a pretty even split between females to males on the platform, but the opportunity there is huge. And I think that, yeah, I think it's 90 plus minutes a day being spent on TikTok in the UK at the moment. So really showcasing the opportunity and how engaged our audiences are. But I wanted to take first a step back and talk through that entertainment evolution and how we have kind of diversified and changed as a platform over the last couple of years. So if we rewind to 2020, TikTok was very much a music first, dance first platform, really a stage for self-expression. We are all probably familiar with the dance challenges that trended throughout COVID, which seems like a long time ago now, but as the platform grew and diversified, so did the content on our platform. So seeing the rise of entertainment or education-based content living on the platform, tapping into so many different niches, 2021 really became that creative canvas, and we saw things like beauty trends starting to go viral on the platform, and that shift kind of evolving over time. Fast forward to 2022, we started to see content sparking trends, and these trends really taking shape on culture on the platform, and it became this real cultural engine, which it still absolutely is today. And I think Book Talk is a great example of that. If you go into any bookstore in person, you'll often see a TikTok made me buy it section, with books that have gone viral on the platform as well. And that's really kind of brought that resurgence to life within that community. And from 2023 onwards, and this is probably what's most interesting to me, is that rise of search. So we're really seeing people lean on TikTok and video platforms as a search engine now more than ever before. I think we're really only on the cusp of that currently. But as I said earlier, I use it for all of my travel research, any hotels I'm looking at. For me, it's no longer enough to look at a menu online for a restaurant and see what's on offer. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see what the vibe is. And so, for anything research, reviews based, to see products on people that look like myself, I'll go to search to find that, to do that research and deep diving as well. So I think we're really, as I said, only scratching the surface there, and there's a lot more to come. But we've really seen this shift and evolution over time, which is incredible and crazy to keep up with. So as I said, trends start on TikTok, but they really go on to have significant and huge impact on off-platform culture as well. a couple of examples here across different categories. I think the Stanley Cup is a great one. This product had a massive resurgence on TikTok, getting millions of views, and significant boosts in revenue, all because of the power of the platform. We're also all probably quite familiar with Tube Girl, who became an instant fashion sensation overnight, really tapping into our luxury audience as well with some fashion brands off the back of that. And of course, when it comes to beauty, we're seeing TikTok really changing how we buy beauty, but also what's trending in beauty as well. Of course, things like clean girl aesthetic and mob wife comes on the platform, may last for a number of weeks or months, and then there'll be a new trend to keep up with. But it really has gone on to have that significant off-platform impact, which is something about the platform that is so special. But with all of this in mind, what does this mean for consumers and what does this mean for brands? So for consumers, they have more choice, more freedom, and more control than ever before, which is great. But for brands, this media fragmentation really creates a fight for attention, and a fight to connect with audiences in a really meaningful way, that keeps entertainment at the heart. And consumers also have new expectations from brands as well. 41% of Gen Zs and 33% of millennials cited that disruptive ads would be a key reason for not making a purchase with a brand. And so it's so important for brands to be part of that entertainment experience, rather than putting forced or bombardment of ads on the platform, which doesn't resonate with the audience. We also see that enjoyment and entertainment is identified as a top driver of trust in advertising amongst the 18 to 34-year-old group. And what we see here from these comments that live on the platform underneath branded ads is that consumers don't have an ad problem, but they have a disruption problem, which means you do really need to show up and connect with them in a way that will resonate on the platform. And we've seen some comments here. This is the only advert where I've actually wanted to try this product now. I can't believe the first 10 minutes, the first 10-minute TikTok I actually watched was an ad. So yeah, you'll see a lot of these different kind of comments, and the comment section can often be quite funny on the platform. But being able to tap into that and keep your audience at the forefront is super important. So as I said, brands have the opportunity to be really integral to that entertainment experience on our platform. And to keep that in mind and to keep that entertainment experience front and center, it's important to know how our platform does work and the benefits of it as well. So first and foremost, we are an audience first platform, an audience first entertainment experience. So our content or ads are fully skippable, giving again the user that control as to what it is that they want to watch. Secondly, there's democratized and diverse content and quite a low barrier to entry. So what you'll see a lot of the time is content that doesn't look really high quality, high polished, and it looks a lot more authentic, which people resonate with. So that creates a lower barrier to entry, and being able to create a broad range of content that caters to all of these different interests that live on TikTok. And finally, hyper relevant. So there's a totally tailored feed for every individual on the platform, and people really put trust in the algorithm, which showcases again another opportunity in the sense that people trust the algorithm to surface them content that's going to be relevant to them, that they're going to be interested in. So that makes, I guess, users a lot more open to seeing content that they never knew they would have been interested in the past or interacted in before. And so you get this opportunity to sort of cast the net wider because people have trust in the algorithm and their For You page. And with all of this, we see a melting pot of content which is cooked up by the community on the platform. And we've seen such a rise of niches and subcultures, from the weird and the wonderful to mainstream on our platform. But you'll see things that were typically mundane become celebrated with lots of content around things like clean talk. And we've also seen a new dimension to big cultural events like things like the Euros, Christmas, the Olympics, as well as bigger shows made more snackable, like Golden Globes, Sopranos, and having these short bite-sized content living on our platform as well. And when brands do put the audience first with entertainment at the heart, this can drive real business impact as well. From a marketing perspective, from a brand awareness perspective, and from a return on ad spend perspective, we obviously have ad solutions that can meet your audiences across the funnel. But we can also drive business growth and a really high volume of new customers for you on the platform, potentially a group of audiences or customers or users that you've never spoken with or interacted before. And finally, that can go on to have macro impact. And we've seen that with brands like Peloton, whose shares surged 15% when they partnered with TikTok to offer short form fitness classes. So, how can you really go about starting to unlock this entertainment on the platform? We've kind of broken it down into three key areas, which I won't go into in a huge amount of depth today, but wanted to touch on activating across the funnel. So all the way from that upper funnel down to the performance piece, driving awareness of your brand to sales. Ensuring creative is at the heart of everything with creative that entertains, and measuring this effectively as well, which measurement can also be a tricky one as well to understand and establish. So having the right kind of pillars in place on your measurement journey on the platform also. So very briefly, activating across the funnel. Well, TikTok harnesses the attention power from discovery all the way to purchase, as I said. I won't go through these stats, but you can read them all. But I think what's interesting is 64% discovered new brands or products on TikTok in the last month. So our audience is very open to finding new brands and products, even if they've never heard of them in the past. And so I think this presents a really nice opportunity for smaller brands who may just be getting going on their journey. You still have the opportunity to speak to audiences, even if you don't have a big brand name behind you, if you're not a household name just yet. Our audience is ready to discover, and they're kind of in that discovery phase constantly. All the way from consideration to action to conversion. 35% have purchased products or services that they first saw or learned about on TikTok in the past month as well. So meeting them across all of those different touch points is really important. And from a paid media perspective or an ads perspective, with your marketing strategy, we can also, of course, cater to those various different touch points through our ad solutions, from upper funnel reach all the way down to product sales. Again, this is probably a separate session for another day, but having all of these different considerations in place when you're creating your TikTok paid strategy is really, really important. Now, I know there'll be a separate session on TikTok Shop, I think, coming down the line. But I wanted to touch very briefly on the social commerce opportunity as well. And I guess keeping that in line with your full funnel strategy also. We've seen the rise of TikTok Shop in the UK significantly over the past couple of years. It's now the second largest beauty retailer in the UK, the ninth largest in the US. And of course, we've recently just launched in Ireland as well. So having a TikTok Shop strategy is something that many brands are getting started with. And I think going all in with it as well, right? Not being afraid to kind of break the norms or try something that they haven't done in the past. TikTok Shop is growing rapidly. And so this is something else that is really important to keep in mind when looking at TikTok as a platform and whether you want to sell in the TikTok Shop environment. As of Q1 on the platform, our top categories on TikTok Shop anyway were home and living, fashion, and beauty. But again, working with creators as your salespeople almost or affiliates, reaching a brand new audience that's there and ready to shop and having that personalized in-app experience to boost not just discovery but also sales is really kind of the beauty of TikTok Shop. And not to mention the live selling opportunity that comes with that as well. I know this isn't the easiest thing to get going with as a brand, and it will depend on team resources, but I'm sure many of you might be familiar with P. Louise and Made by Mitchell, who had these record-breaking days with their TikTok Shop lives that can go on for 12 hours but sell 2 products every second. So yeah, just being able to size up that opportunity and speak to your audience in that kind of real-time customer-centric format is proving to be really powerful and rapidly growing. Measurement is the kind of final pillar, I guess, for bringing this all together as a brand on the platform. Very important for TikTok to look beyond last click. 79% of purchases on TikTok aren't captured by last click. So measurement is never the most straightforward or easiest thing to navigate, but looking beyond last click is always important, and unlocking growth with third-party attribution partners and being able to really map out what that customer journey looks like, and seeing each of the different platforms throughout that journey as well is, of course, really important to unpack the full impact of TikTok as a whole. Creative that entertains is one that's probably most interesting to people as well. It's really important that we do have this embedded in your strategy. I know creating content at scale also isn't the easiest, but being able to tap into some of our principles is really important if you're thinking about activating on TikTok or if you're thinking about scaling your creative strategy. I think I have a video here of, I believe it's Monzo. They do a lot of creative testing of different styles on the platform, which is always great, but leaning into best practice. Again, you'll see here how it's very native to the platform with text overlay. I think this should. Not sure if you'll be able to hear my music. So yeah, it can be simple, it can be straightforward, it can be people in your office that are creating that creative that entertains, but not being afraid to test and try thinking outside the box or trying something new and taking some of those risks is always important. And when it comes to creative as well, building content that works is fundamental, and being consistent with your creative as well. If you're a beauty brand here, K18 is a good example that creates content at scale across different pillars. So education backed, transformations, if they've got famous ambassadors, UGC sharing, humors and trends, and kind of creating consistent content across a lot of those pillars is also really, really important, that you're not just dropping a piece of content here and there and then letting it go. It's being consistent with it. And I'm sure Anya will talk to being consistent as well with her creative approach on the platform. Also being founder led can really help, or showing that relatable real side of the brand or the employees that work there is always important. But building the community should be first and foremost and front and center to your strategy. Again, when it comes to jumping on trends, I won't go into this, but people always ask what's going to be trending next. And it's very hard to predict, to be honest, what's going to trend on TikTok next, because it could be something completely random. So it's important not to focus too heavily on how do I jump on trends consistently, but to have a consistent BAU creative strategy where you're speaking to your community, and then where it's relevant and these trend moments, which can last for like a couple of days, where relevant, jump on those, but more think about the trend signals or the trend forces, which can last that little bit longer on the platform. So an example here would be like transformations or a get ready with me. They've been tried and tested on the platform for many years. They're not really going anywhere, but there'll be sub trends that happen throughout and that you can also keep in mind. And I just wanted to touch on the stay and play framework also very briefly. I know this is quite a whistle-stop tour on everything, but wanted to make sure I've included all of the kind of interesting and relevant pieces when getting going on the platform. This isn't something you do need to do immediately, but thinking about your stay communities, who you're tried and tested, your beauty communities, your home and garden communities, whether it might be mum talk, but also not being afraid to experiment with these play communities as well. So playing in the kind of unexpected areas to allow you to grow new audiences as well, and speak to not just that one beauty community that you're anticipating is on the platform, because on TikTok there are so many communities. So don't be afraid to try and kind of incorporate that into your strategy as well. Burberry is a great example of a brand that, you know, was testing with the miniature world or food talk, and it seems different to what they would naturally do. But it works and it stands out, and it sparks conversation as well. So that's something that I would think about kind of somewhat later in your creative approach. And I guess it can be almost overwhelming to know where to start with all of this. On the TikTok side of things, of course, we've got products and services that can help you all the way from ideation to production to optimization if you're doing any paid media content as well. And a lot of that can help you understand what's happening in your category on the platforms, particularly things like the creative center to help you understand what's going on and what you could be sort of tapping into. So yeah, I would definitely take a look at these resources as well offline. I believe I'm at time, and I'm sure I've spoken quite fast, but just to kind of summarize everything, TikTok is first and foremost an entertainment platform. And so understanding that shift and how you show up on the platform is really important. But activating across the funnel, having an effective measurement strategy, and really leaning into that creative that entertains are kind of three key pillars for a successful strategy. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions afterwards. And thank you guys for having me. I'll stop sharing now.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Kathy. I know I've learned a lot in watching the Q&A box here fill up. I think our audience has too. I will just highlight, guys, keep those questions coming. We won't answer them until the very end of the webinar, but it'd be great to have our big bulk to go through all in one go. I'm just going to reshare my screen here, if that's okay. There we are. So I'll just welcome Anya back there. Yeah, Gav, thanks for joining us, Anya. And so I suppose to begin, for those that are potentially new to your brand or meeting your brand for the first time, can you give a bit of an overview of what the Smooth Company is?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. I'm probably going to echo a lot of what Kathy said because it's very relevant to what we do and how we've grown on TikTok. But also, I learned loads from Kathy, so thank you so much. I was taking some notes there as you were going through them, because I think the number one thing with TikTok is it is always changing, it is always evolving. So we're always learning. We're by no means an expert at TikTok, but we're always trialing new things. So I started the Smooth Company in February 2022. I've worked in the beauty industry for the last 8 years before that. And I saw a gap in the market for a product that would tame any stray or crazy hairs that you might have, because my hair naturally is very, very frizzy. I have a lot of broken hairs. And I danced for years, so I've always put gel in my hair to slick my hair back. And as you know, gel isn't very good for your hair and it leaves your hair hard and you have to wash it out. And I was like, there has to be an easier way. And then I noticed a common trend of girls dipping their toothbrush into gel to slick their hair back. So then I spent 2 years researching, working on a formula, finding a manufacturer. And on the 8th of February 2022, I launched with our first product called the Smooth Stick. So this is it here. It is a premium hair taming wand designed to tame any flyaways or baby hairs that you have. So if you have any flyaways, you can just brush them over and it will keep your flyaways in place without leaving your hair with any residue like other hair taming products can do. I suppose I put all of my money into developing the product and the packaging and getting it over here, that I left no money for marketing. And as I said, I worked in the beauty industry for 8 years previous, and I had seen the rise of creators on Instagram, and I felt like I'd kind of missed the wave with Instagram. So I always said to myself, whatever the new social media platform is, I'm going to get on it and I'm going to try build a following on it. So the second my friend in work had actually told me about TikTok, this is like back in 2019, I downloaded the app, I started like seeing how it worked, and then I started posting videos on it. And I was like so embarrassed at the time, but I was like, this will be worth it someday. And this is before I even had the idea for the Smooth Company, but it was just to build an audience because I'd studied entrepreneurship in college and I always wanted to someday hopefully start my own business. So then eventually 3 years later, when I started the Smooth Company, what I did was I documented our business journey on TikTok. And as a result of that, now we have over 150 million organic TikTok views, and we have customers in 70 countries around the world. And that's all thanks to TikTok, because we can see and we've seen straight away, anytime we had a viral video, we would get all this new traffic onto our website. We would have sales as far as Chile and Peru, and we knew it was all coming from TikTok. Like there was a direct correlation from when a video went viral to the traffic just skyrocketed on the website. So yeah, it's been a journey. As I said earlier, TikTok is always changing, so we're constantly evolving our strategy to match. But yeah, that was a very, very quick whistle top tour of the Smooth Company and how we got here today.
No, I think that's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll say I love the product myself, and I'm kind of wishing coming onto this call that I was using it this morning myself. But no, that's great, and you've kind of hit the nail on the head there as well. The link to TikTok, and I suppose why you initially went to TikTok over other platforms, and I've used that to grow. I will say, was from the last time I was on your page, I think you had 3.8 million likes through your videos. Can I ask what type of content has been most successful for you on TikTok, or can you think of any specific campaigns that really stood out?
Yeah, well, kind of what Kathy was saying, we do a bit of everything. So we call it the three E's. So we have educational content, engaging content, and entertaining content. So we use a bit of everything. We don't just do, say, hair tutorials and stick with that because then you're only targeting a specific customer. So honestly, we every week we review what worked the week before and then we'll do that the following week. And depending on what we're doing as a business. So we try to bring our customers on our journey with us. So like a lot of people say, oh, I started following you when you were packing the orders in your attic to now, literally just last week, we got the keys to our new office. So to date, we haven't had an office. So we're going to bring our customers on the journey of like renovating the office so they feel like they've followed us from the start and can see the evolution of the brand. But when you were asking me, can I remember like any big campaigns? When we really, our first really viral video on the Smooth Company page was I actually went to Coachella in 2022. I was originally meant to go in 2019, but because of COVID, I couldn't go for 3 years. And it actually worked out really well because, as Kathy mentioned, if there's big cultural moments, stuff that's going to be trending online, like Coachella is a big moment on the internet. People want to see what people are wearing. And I knew it was going to be like a hotspot for influencers. So we were literally 3 weeks old. So the company was 3 weeks old. My friends were like, you have to go up to people and ask them to do their hair with the smooth stick. So I was going up to anyone who I thought was an influencer, who looked like an influencer. And I basically gave them a 30-second pitch of what the smooth stick was and asked them, could I do their hair with it? It was so embarrassing. I think of it now, I was like, how was I actually brave enough to do that? But I knew that like if I wanted the brand to be successful, I had to put myself in an uncomfortable situation. And as a result of that, I ended up going up to one girl. I asked, could I do her hair? And my friend videoed it. We popped it up on our TikTok and it went viral. It has over 4 million views. And that girl actually was, who I didn't know, but actually was an influencer. And it ended up trending in America, that video. It ended up coming up on her For You page in America. And she was like, hey, that's me. And as a result of that, we started getting a load of American influencers and TikTokers buying the product because our video had gone viral. Then they bought it. And one influencer who bought it, her name is Ashley Elliott. She has 15 million followers in the US. She's based in Hawaii. She bought the product herself. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I had messaged her to be like, we'll send you out more. In the meantime, the product arrived and she did a video on her own page using the smooth stick and her video went viral and her video got 15 million views and 2 million likes just on her video alone. And then the traffic, like then for the full first year of the Smooth Company, most of the traffic onto our website was coming from America. So the number one thing I will say is like, even if your videos are only getting like 100 or 200 views, you do not know who those 200, 100 people are. Like it could be one person, like in our case, where it was Ashley Elliott, like a huge influencer in the US, seen our video, bought the product herself, and then did an organic review on it. So I think that's something to keep in mind because the thing with TikTok is, and this is something that I had to wrap my head around at the start, is like, oh, we have one viral video has 4 million. Our next video should have 5 million. Our next video should have 6 million. But like TikTok does not work like that. You could literally have one viral video and then all your next few videos are a big flop. But you literally just have to keep going. You have to keep churning out the content. And honestly, it's always the ones you least expect that end up going viral, and the ones you spend hours editing on don't do as well as you hope. So it's just constantly trying new things. And I think the number one tip is if you can get a trending sound. I know Kai said it's hard to know what sounds are going to be trending next, but if you can jump on a trending sound earlier, it absolutely helps in your video going viral.
I think that sounds fantastic, and it's really I love that example. Going around Coachella, trying to get the hair done and seeing what takes off, and it's interesting to show like that you being bold in that situation on your trip ultimately helped to get Smooth Stick into the US market, like which is just absolutely fantastic with the sport of TikTok. It shows you can go viral and the impact that it can make for a company.
Yeah, and
And
like that's no budget, like I didn't have loads of money to pay any of those influencers to post about it. So I had to be creative in how I could try get us go viral. So yeah, it definitely paid off.
yeah, I think that's a really interesting point to actually just highlight there as well. Like I think some companies come to myself and other market advisors, and when we mention the likes of TikTok, they worry that, well, we don't have the budgets or we're not big enough or anything like that. So it's great to see that the impact that you had, again, as a startup, I suppose,
Yeah.
just kind of bringing the business to life.
Yeah. And just say like all of our growth on TikTok has been organic because like I said, we don't have big marketing budgets. We're only 3 years old. So everything that we've done today has been organic and we've just tried to be as creative as possible. But and that's I think is key. Like you're going up against like really big players and especially in beauty, it's really saturated. So we're constantly trying to think outside the box and think what will our viewers want to see and how can we be as engaging and building a community, I suppose for me is like the biggest thing. And another tip with that is like for the most part, like we always try to reply to as many comments and DMs as we can as possible. Or if you see people on TikTok using your product or talking about your product, like to reply to those videos, I think it's really important. And I think customers and followers really appreciate that. If if they've spent time, like for example, for us, if someone spent time doing a hair tutorial and they've used the smooth stick in it, like I'll always try reply to it. And I think that helps and also encourages then more people to use your products because I think they can see that you're really appreciative of it.
Yeah, I completely get that as well. And I think in a world that I suppose different trends are coming, making fads shorter and so on, that if you are actually engaging with your audience and building that connection, then you're building a loyal consumer base, which is
Yeah.
absolutely great. I will just ask, so looking at like you've come out with some great kind of pieces there on videos going viral and so on. Again, last time I looked at your page, I think it was 109,000 followers, which is absolutely fantastic. You've said again about going viral and how you've gotten different followings from that, but back to your kind of day to day and touching on what Kathy was saying earlier as well, what does your typical content schedule look like? So I suppose how many times do you think you need to post to keep relevant and so on?
Yeah, so we aim to post at least once a day. And it was interesting. And this is why it's so important to chat to other business owners and chat to other people, especially in other markets. My sister was at a conference last week, Ecom Live, where she was talking to some owners from the UK beauty brands who are doing absolutely phenomenal on TikTok Shop. And they were saying that they post 18 times a day. And I was like, whoa, okay, we really need to step it up.
It
So
needs
I
to be full time.
yeah, literally, like, and it's a full-time job, and I will say that, like, you have to give the time to it if you want it to work. For us, I mean, we can see the direct correlation of posting on TikTok to sales. So for us, it's absolutely worth it. But you do need to give it time. Like as Kathy said, you can't just post once or twice and then leave it for weeks and then try post again and hope that you go viral. Like you have to be more consistent. In my head, I don't know, I thought like maybe just post once a day because is it quality over quantity. But now I think it's changing again, and I think it's actually more quantity. So the more you post, the better. So at the moment, we're posting once a day, but as a result of those conversations last week, I think we're going to try up that. You're asking there about our content schedule. We meet once a week and we go through what we're going to post for the week. But like I said, trends happen so fast. If something's popping off, I'll do a TikTok on it that day. And I think you need to be like that. You need to be on the ball with stuff if you want it to go viral. Because if you do a trend that's 2 weeks, 3 weeks old, it's just not going to get the views. So you have to be quick with it. And I think for us as small businesses, like that's our advantage over the big players because they have so many chains of command and so much stuff for approval. Like we don't have that. I'm just like, yeah, put it up. We'll get it up today. So I think we need to leverage that, and that's our like secret weapon as small businesses. That is that we can get stuff up quick.
Yeah, no, that sounds great, and I suppose a great kind of affirmation there as well for a lot of small companies on the call. With that, you said you're sending them around quickly. Do you think that the videos have to be up to a specific, I suppose, level, quality level, or anything like that, or what you see works the best?
Oh my God, we are the most raw and ready brand you've ever seen. I think, thank God, because obviously Instagram is so polished and clean. And I think, again, you need a lot of money to have like high quality shoots and make it look as premium polished as possible. I think that's why I love TikTok, is because you don't have to overcomplicate it. As Kathy said, I can absolutely attest to it. The most raw and ready videos do so much better. People, I think, they'll go to Instagram if they want to see the polished stuff. But I think it's more entertaining and engaging for me as a viewer as well. Like I love seeing the real behind the scenes of brands, like what it's actually like, the boxes everywhere, everything that goes wrong. The videos that actually always do really well for us is when I'm talking about stuff that's going wrong because people like want to know the reality of it. And I also think don't be afraid to share stuff. Like for me, a year and a half ago, as a result of going viral, I know you're going to ask me about the challenges. One bad side of it is our whole website got pirated. So someone copied our whole website, made a fake website. They took one of my TikTok videos and were running it as an Instagram ad. So people were swiping up and then being brought to this fake website where they had like edited out Smooth Stick and put a fake name on it to try to get people's card details. So I was obviously in a state of panic and I didn't know what to do. So I just put up a video and I was quite upset at the time. And I just put it up on TikTok, just warning people that this had happened and be careful, like someone's pirated our whole website. And that video actually like went viral and we had hundreds and hundreds of people reaching out trying to help us. And from such a bad, stressful situation, it actually made me realize what a nice community we had and how many people were reaching out and trying to help us. We had people reach out from Meta. We had other brands reaching out who this had happened to before. And within 48 hours, then the fake website was gone. And I think people liked seeing the vulnerability and showing that like stuff goes wrong, but B, then for us, I didn't realize how many people were actually out there to help us. So I think if you do have a problem, like don't be afraid to go on TikTok and share it, because like there's so many people who probably have had similar issues to you. And I think people actually like seeing the real side of the business as well.
I think that sounds great. That sounds like saying that sounds great. That sounds like a horrific story, but it sounds
Yeah,
great. I love how the TikTok
it
community
wasn't
behind
the
you there.
best.
But that is fantastic, and it's even that is a way you can use TikTok that I hadn't even thought of before coming onto this call. Especially, I know my own my For You page is very much like early stage businesses starting off. I personally love those stories as well. So you mentioned one challenge there. Is there any other challenges you faced, I suppose, using TikTok as you're building this brand?
I think the biggest thing, and like probably saying for all small businesses, that our biggest thing is our lack of time. And I'm trying to run a small business. There's so many elements to the business, the supply chain, the operations, our retailers, social media, our customers. I'm trying to juggle everything. So it is hard trying to give the time to, make it as good as it can possibly be. Like I'd love to be posting 18 videos a day. Like I love TikTok. I'm like a big TikTok viewer myself, but I just don't have the time to be like giving it as much attention as I can. But I think if you can just challenge yourself to post at least once a day, and like I said, it doesn't have to be polished, it doesn't have to spend your hours. As I said, the videos that have done best for us have been the ones that I've just put up in 2 seconds that I didn't expect to go viral. I've just put it up because I needed to post something and it ends up doing really well. So that's definitely a challenge. But hopefully, I'm hoping if I can commit a certain amount of time to TikTok every day, we'll hopefully see the sales come in as a result. Like we'll keep growing the business. It means that eventually I'll be able to hire someone full time to help me with TikTok. So it will pay off hopefully in the next few months. As you know, TikTok Shop just launched in Ireland just there before Christmas. So at the minute we're building our strategy now. As I said, we're doing the office, so we're going to have a full content room. So we're really watching closely what's working in the UK, what's working here in Ireland. So in the next couple of months, like we are going to hit the ground. Like I think we haven't even scratched the surface with TikTok yet. Like we are going to go like full throttle in the next few months to really like see how far we can take this.
No, I think that sounds fantastic, and I suppose I never said congratulations on the new office with that as well. That sounds fantastic.
We're calling it the Dream House.
Oh, fantastic, brilliant! I can't wait to watch the TikToks on it. But it's even brilliant to see that you were thinking your future plan is to actually hire someone to focus on this full time, like that you're seeing that much potential and opportunity coming out of this for your business.
Oh, no, like 100%. Like as that TikTok is, I feel like, I don't know if Kat will agree, but just in its infancy, the fact we've only got TikTok Shop here now. And obviously at the moment you can only sell to Irish customers, but I'm sure over the next few months here, that's going to open up. And I think once we can start selling into the UK and into Europe, I think like the potential there is going to be endless. So I think now is the time for all of us to really try learn it and see how it works to really like hit the ground running with it. Yeah. So I think the potential is like so much bigger than any of us can even imagine right now. So yeah, we want to be on the ball with it over the next few months to be ready.
Yeah, no doubt you will. And I suppose just to go back to something that Kathy had touched on a little bit as well, I think links in very well with yourselves. The founder being the face of a brand. Like I know you are very much the face of the Smooth company, but you also have a strong personal following on the likes of TikTok and so on as well. So what impact did you see having the personal following have on your account or
Yeah.
your Smooth company account?
Yeah, so I suppose I touched on that at the start. It was like during COVID when TikTok first, started coming. I actually made my own personal account first as before I had the Smooth company because I was trying to build a following on that. And one challenge with that is I have to do double the content. So sometimes I'm like, will I post that on my own page? Will I post it on the Smooth company page? Like I never know, and it's a battle trying to like do both. Like it's hard. And I don't know what the right answer is sometimes about which video would perform better on which account. I suppose on my own personal account, I do it for more personal things. Like say, for example, I was in Liverpool on the weekend, so I'm going to put up a few TikToks for that. I was at a hen party, so I'm going to post my itinerary, what we did for the hen party. So then if someone's Googling hen parties in Liverpool, they might start hopefully following me from that, and it'll help build my audience in other elements. Also, I do a lot of TikToks with my granddad, and I do them on my own personal page. And I think people love following along, like the family aspect of running a business. And I suppose that helps us again stand out from competitors, because that's my personal story. And I think, in this day and age, there's a lot of like copycats or like, and it's fine getting inspiration from people, but I think no one can ever copy your actual story. So I think that's something that businesses here should leverage about, like, what makes you different from everyone else. And I suppose for me, it's the fact that my family is so involved in the business, and I love showing that, and I love doing TikToks with them, and they all love getting in the TikToks with me. So yeah, it's nice having both accounts. At the time, I wasn't sure whether will I just do one account, but I think having the two accounts is good because people will follow you for different reasons. So they have my own page for like maybe the more behind the scenes and the family aspect, and then the Smooth Company would be where I would do more tutorials and educational videos as well as entertaining videos.
I think that sounds great, and you're really kind of, I suppose, showing that it's the originality with that as well. And as Kathy was saying, as you said, as we all kind of know as well, how you can bring people in that and really create your brand community. So that's great. Thanks very much. I'm conscious of time here, just to be able to open it for the Q&A. I have one question left for you. You've kind of answered it the whole way through anyways, but just in case there's anything left, is there any key lessons that you've learned since joining or making your page on TikTok and for growing your brand here?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is to be consistent and don't overthink it, because for me, I am the worst for overthinking it. Like I've over 234 drafts in on my TikTok account because I overthink it. And it's the ones that I take and I post right away and I don't overthink it that end up doing the best. So definitely don't overthink it. Be consistent and try like literally just dive into your own brand story and don't try replicate what other brands have done. I think that will definitely help. Like for us, it did just happen organically with my granddad helping us, like, because he was retired, helping us pack the orders in the attic. And I think people loved that because it was something different. Like I don't know any other beauty brand that have used a granddad in their content, so it was something different. So I think if you can try be as unique to your own brand story as possible, but definitely consistency is key. And if you can try get a trending sound as well, it'll definitely help boost the video.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Anya. It's been absolutely great listening to your story here. I'm sure we'll find out even more with the questions that are going through. I think we've 11 questions at the moment, so we'll see if we can fly through all these in the next 10 minutes. Kathy, I might ask you to come back and join us again if that's okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Fabulous. Thank you. So just going through the questions. First one, is there a right time to post on TikTok, or is that just a myth? So either of you could take that.
Like there's no you need to post at 6 o'clock because that's when demand is highest. Obviously, it's going to depend. We know, like if you think about yourself as a user, right? Like I think a lot of us scroll late in the evening, but also commuting into work. Like people are active throughout the day, and the average user opens the app over 20 times a day. So you've got so many opportunities to meet them and reach them. So we don't have this is the golden rule. I'm sure as you continue to post as a brand, and Anya, keen to hear your thoughts on that, you may start to see engagement higher if you continue posting at 7 p.m. every evening, whatever it might be, if it's a Sunday evening. But there's no golden rule on it because people are active quite constantly throughout the day. But yeah, keen to hear if you guys have identified as a brand who posts versus myself, who's more of a lurker on the platform.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with Kathy. We kind of post at like all different times. One thing we do avoid is like posting after like 10:30 at night, because if I find that when you post a video, if you get more likes or comments straight away when you post, the video will do better, and it will like have a snowball effect where I feel like if you post at like 10:30 or after, a lot of people are starting to go to sleep and not on their phone. So then if someone sends it to their friend, the friend's not going to watch it until the next morning. And I feel like it kind of loses momentum. So for us, I find the earlier in the evening that you post, like if you can post around like 6 or 7, or else earlier on the day, the videos tend to do better. But that's just in my personal experience anyway. And as I said, it's always changing. So I don't think there's a golden hour, like Kathy said.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I have a question here. Are hashtags really important to get visibility on your videos?
For us personally, I use hashtags so we can track the metrics of it. They've changed it now on TikTok, but I'm hoping they'll change it back. When you hashtag the Smooth Company, you could see our total amount of views. So for all of our videos, and that's how I know we have over 150 million organic TikTok views. So I say since that we actually have way more, but I'm hoping they'll switch it back, because now when you look up hashtag Smooth Company, you'll see how many posts we've made and not the total views. But I'm praying that they will change it back. So it's good for me for metrics. And then also, I think it's important for people searching stuff. So if you have it in like a keyword, so like for us, we have like slick back hair tutorial. We'll always use hashtags like that. So people, when they're searching stuff, will come up hopefully. So yeah, I think they are really important.
Yeah, I'd say it's great for brands as a research tool as well. So understanding, like if you go to the creative center to understand, okay, what's happening in the beauty and personal care category, we can see what hashtags have been trending. Is there a rise in searches with, or is there a rise in hashtag, I don't know whether it's gonna be around beauty or, as you said, slick back hair, whatever it might be. And you can kind of see analytics around that to understand more so user behavior and what's gaining popularity or momentum. So I would say I would typically use it in that sense a lot more. But of course, as when you mentioned as well, like I guess the more lower funnel that you're going as well, if someone is running like a search ad, for instance, if someone's looking to drive like performance, having it in there is also it's good to have, but I wouldn't say it's the be all and end all for the reach that you're going to get. I think it's really good for understanding user behavior, understanding what is the sentiment around your own brand as well. Is it starting to gain traction? So yeah, that's when I would say the hashtag piece comes into importance. But yeah, I mean I would use them, but I wouldn't put everything down to the hashtags that are going to be in your content.
That's great, thank you. And a question, I suppose, coming on a little bit from what the points you just made there. How do you measure the success of your TikTok campaigns?
For us, for me, it's I measure everything on engagement. Like even if a video hasn't got like 100,000 views, if it has like 5,000 views, but it has loads of comments and we get DMs, that for me, that's worked. Because as I said, I don't think everything needs to be about going so viral. It's about building that community. And I think I said it earlier on as well, you don't know. Like I think say 5,000 views doesn't seem like a lot, but if you're actually to picture 5,000 people in real life, that is a lot of people. And you're not going to have 5,000 people seeing it and engaging with your stuff. If it was like in a shopping center, say, for example, like I think you can get direct feedback from your customers. Those like, even if it's 100 views, I think that can be like impactful. And if they're commenting and they're engaging with you. So for me, as long as we're getting comments and messages from people about the video, that to me has been like successful. But I suppose it probably looks different depending on what your brand is and what, you deem successful. For me, TikTok's all about building brand awareness. Yeah, we're predominantly an e-commerce brand, but we also are in bricks and mortar stores. So as long as we are talking to our customers all the time, that to me is like it's worked.
Yeah, from my side, again, it varies, right? So is it brand awareness that you're looking to drive on the platform, or is it sales? Across my team, majority of the brands that we're working with are very much performance focused. So I guess in that case, the key KPIs that we would typically discuss or look to optimize towards would be things like return on ad spend, return on investment, and obviously a lot of brands are looking at profitability or even new customer acquisition now. So a lot on the performance side of things, particularly with the brands that are also on TikTok Shop in the UK as well. But outside of that, again, engagement, views, reach, etc., to see, are we actually speaking to new customers? Are we making new people aware of our brand? Because we know that the audience size is so massive. So it's finding a balance across the two. But it will really depend on every brand and what their kind of KPIs or success metrics are and how they view the platform as well.
That's perfect, thank you. And I have a question here. How do you grow your brand image and following on TikTok if the founder of the brand isn't as comfortable showing themselves on TikTok? Any advice there?
I think I don't think you don't necessarily always have to show the brand founder. I think for us, like I don't want the brand always to be reliant on me to be in the content, and that's something that we're changing in our content strategy. We are introducing employees now, almost like new characters on on our TikTok, and I think that's working really well. And I think you can follow a lot of brands who are really successful, like Duolingo. I know Lifestyle Sports are doing really well at the moment on TikTok, and they don't show the brown founder. So I think it's definitely 100% possible to grow a brand on TikTok without the brand founder. I would have a look at some brands that are doing it well without a brand founder, and kind of see what they're doing that's working well that you could like implement in your strategy. So yeah, I think it is possible. I think you need to be consistent and constantly post to help grow the following. I think that's going to be key.
Yeah, I would plus one. I think that's a great answer because not every brand will have a founder that wants to be the face of the brand, right? So it's not like that's the be all and end all, but are you showcasing the brand in an authentic way? So yeah, are the employees across the team comfortable? Do they want to do a day in the life of what it's like to work in the office? Do you want to bring people to the warehouse to show this is the behind the scenes? Do we want to lean into like humor and funniness, or is there a brand that's really backed in science and you want to constantly talk about if you think of some skincare brands like a CeraVe or The Ordinary, and they want to talk about the ingredients behind the brand, or bring in maybe some dermatologists to constantly talk about the product and the benefits. So that doesn't need to be one. It's a popular route if the founder is like an Anya or someone that's comfortable with it, but by no means does it mean that that's kind of the be all and end all. I think if you're just willing to take a risk as well and not pigeonhole yourself, have your category and have your niches, but don't be afraid to try new things, because I've seen a couple of questions as well in the chat box of how do we do it in the UK coming from Ireland? And it's always going to be a bit of a test and learn, because some people will try and do a copy and paste. We know this works here. It might not work in another market for you. So as long as you're okay with like testing something else, you might find it's different style of content that actually works that you never thought would have worked. And that can often happen with TikTok. You have expectations about which content will go big, and then you might post some content that's kind of off the cuff, and that's what resonates with the audience. So yeah, I would say it doesn't need to be the founder led. You could lean into so many different areas, but don't be afraid to test different routes and to see what resonates.
That's perfect. Thank you. I might just looking at the time there. I'm just going to try and get in 3 questions if we can. So, kind of quick fire answers. If you can, does making your account a business account limit its reach on the algorithm, since people know it's a business account and not a personal account? That can be off-putting to users. Is it better to have a normal account?
I think if you're a brand, have a business account. That's just typically the way I would have always advised people, but I don't know if you guys have done something different. But yeah, I would usually say create a business account for a brand, especially if you're going to be entering a new market as well.
Yeah, ours is the business account, and I haven't found it's affected anything. We've more followers now on the business account than my own personal account. So yeah.
I think also when users see it's a business account, it can instill trust that this is okay, this is a legitimate brand, etc. So yeah, I would go business if you can.
Perfect. I'd say that makes sense as well with TikTok Shop. Connect
You'll
across.
need that, yeah.
So how do you both see the role of TikTok evolving for brands in the next couple of years?
Yeah,
It's tough.
I think TikTok Shop is going to become like so much bigger. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think hopefully we'll be able to start selling into new markets on TikTok Shop, and I think that will like be a real game changer. So I think we're going to see so many different evolutions of TikTok over the next like couple of months, couple of years. So I think it's just important that we all stay up on the trends and like give it the time, because I think if we want to be successful, yeah, you're just going to have to give it time and try learn and try adapt as things change, because it's such a quick changing environment. But for us, we've definitely seen the payoff so far. So we're going to keep going with it and try see if we can build it as big as we possibly can.
Yeah, I'll chime in very quickly. Just plus one, TikTok Shop. Obviously, some of the brands that would have launched on TikTok Shop in the UK, like as with a bit of a first mover advantage, have really built up so many learnings already. Same as some of my brands that have started running TikTok Shop in the US for the last year or so. So it brings a really nice opportunity that it's opened in Ireland, but not being afraid to be like, okay, well, we're going to go in with this. We're willing to test and take a bit of a risk, because those that are doing it are reaping the rewards massively. So yeah, just go for it and go all in. But yeah, TikTok Shop I think is just going to continue to grow.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We are just up on time, but my final question was very much what advice could you give these companies? And I think you both kind of hit the nail on the head with that one there as well. So guys, I will say thank you so much again for joining us. Really appreciate all the insights that you've given. I might just highlight for everyone on the call here, webinar 5 will take place next Thursday, the 15th of May at 11 o'clock, and you'll learn all about TikTok Shop from Nora, who's the Integrated Marketing Director from TikTok Shop UK and EU. So this will very much build on what the team have chatted about here today. Again, you will all get the recording for this webinar, and you will also get the registration link for the next webinar within the afternoon today. So again, thanks very much for our speakers, and thanks for everyone for joining, and I hope you all have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you so much, guys.
Fabulous.